Hi, I'm Charles Lewis, and I'd like to welcome you to this exciting videotape where we're going to cover the 25 most effective and beautiful poses of females. This is really an important subject because so many photographers do what I call potluck photography, where all they do is just simply sit the subject down and hope that they can get something that looks good. What we want to try to do here is to give you some really cool stuff on specifically 25 poses that always work well. They always help the client look better than they really look, and they look really beautiful through the camera. So we're going to bring in a live model now, and we're going to walk you through 25 poses, starting with pose number 0. Now what we've done is we've numbered the poses. This is for your benefit when you're working in the camera room. You never use the pose number in front of the client, but for your own personal help, to help you mentally prepare and mentally go through a session, this is really effective because you can actually go through in your mind and say, did I do pose number 0, did I do pose number 1? It's very effective. So what we're going to do is number them, starting with number 0 and work through number 24. And if you go through this tape over and over again and learn these babies by heart, then when you're actually in a session, you can really get some neat things by simply mentally going through and asking yourself, did I do pose number 3, did I do pose number 4? And you'll have certain favorites that you'll have that work better for certain age groups and different types of body styles, but you're really going to like this. So without further ado, let's bring in our model Jill, and we'll sit down and we're going to walk you through the 25 most effective poses for female. So we're going to start out with what I call pose number 0. Pose number 0 is a classic feminine head and shoulders portrait. So for a classic feminine head and shoulders portrait, what I mean is we're going to swivel you to your right a little bit. Right to your right, over this way in this direction. So go to your right. Is that your right? That's your left, isn't it? Go this way. Yeah, that's it. This is it. This is cool. All right. Now, we're going to start out with pose number 0, which is a feminine classic head and shoulders portrait. So to do that, we're going to turn your head to the right a little bit towards the main light. And we're going to bring this right elbow gently up here like so. This is good. And turn your head more to your right. There we go. Now just kind of lean a little bit towards, there we go, this is good, just a little bit like that. Now turn your head a little more to your right. There you go, a little more. Yep, now bring your eyes back to the camera. Okay, and then we'll put this left arm on your hip. Yep, okay. Now, by doing that, we have placed, we've got the light skimming across her outfit. Her head turns past the camera axis right into the light, which gives us a beautiful light on her face and her eyes. So now all we've got to do is do a little bit of messing with the hair here. So we'll come around here and decide how we want to photograph your hair. So let's bring it back here for the beginning here. And now we need one of the important parts of this particular pose is our camera tilt, where we're going to tilt the camera so that she's tilting up. So we'll just tilt the camera a little bit here so that she's going up. Yep, keep going, a little bit more, there we go. Now turn your head a little more to your right. There you go, beautiful. Your eyes will come back to the camera. Beautiful. Okay, we'll get a little picky right here. This looks gorgeous. Now this means that this shoulder is a little bit higher than this shoulder. Now a classic feminine head and shoulders portrait is where the head tilts gently towards the upper shoulder. So now we'll just tilt your head a little bit to your right, a little bit more. Gorgeous. Little turn to the right with your head a little bit. There you go. Eyes come back to the camera. Here you have a basic classic head and shoulders portrait. Put a little bit of diffusion on it. Come in a little bit closer here, just a little bit more close up. Put her eyes on the top third. This will be a vertical composition. There we go. This is good. Bring her eyes up to the third here on the top third of the image. Back up a teensy bit. Now again, picture this in your mind as a vertical composition. Here, her head is turned just enough to where we do not see this ear back here. We have no earring growing out down here. Okay? And then her head turns towards the camera, or towards the light. Now chin up just a little bit more. Beautiful. Now a little more tilt to your right. Yes, classic. Now we can either have her looking back into the camera, or you can have your eyes go right off this way into the light over here. So let's bring your eyes kind of right over to here. Yep, that's gorgeous. A little bit even more to the left with your eyes, just a little bit. There, beautiful. Now turn your head a little more to your right. Oh, vertical. Love this classic pose number 0. Now this is the way the pose looks on a close-up head and shoulders portrait, but you don't have to do just head and shoulders work with this particular pose. So let me go over and show you a couple of photographs that are pose number 0. This is a classic head and shoulders. If you went in close, would be a head and shoulders pose number 0. where her head is turned towards the upper shoulder. Notice how she's slightly tilting this way. Her head is now tilted to this upper shoulder. Eyes are coming down, but it's a full-length portrait. But it's a pose, what you call a pose 0, which is a classic head and shoulders portrait where the head is turned past the axis of the body, turned past it, okay? Here's another example right here, full-length bridal portrait, but it's a pose 0 because her head is turning past the axis and her eyes are, in this case, her eyes are coming back to the camera. This is one of the most successful poses you can do when done properly. This is a pose 0, what I call a pose number 0, classic feminine head and shoulders portrait. Body this way, head turned past the axis, that gives it that feminine feel. Head tilted slightly towards the upper shoulder. Light coming from the side of the face that is away from the camera so that the side of the face that's towards the camera is in shadow. And one more just to show you how different each of these can look. You can do this right here where it's still a pose 0 with a higher lighting ratio, more dramatic lighting. But this is basically pose 0 because her body goes this way, her head turns back this way. So now let's go to pose number 1. Now pose number 1 will rotate you around to your right. This is one of my absolute favorite poses for men, but also for women. But definitely for men, this is my biggie for men. This always sells. But for women it can look really pretty too. And we need some kind of a posing table here to give some effect here. We can now straighten the camera back up for a second, Ed, if you will. And we need some kind of an adjustable table so that we can create an effect here that it can go up and down for the different poses. So we have her sitting on a little adjustable stool. We have the table here that goes up and down. Now you just simply put your elbow here. You bring your right hand underneath your chin. Okay, now you take we want to set the shoulder here. We want so that it doesn't just fall off right here. So we're going to take and put your left hand on your hip. That's right. Now, let's rotate the whole thing just like you are to your right. You got it. There we go. A little more even. Just rotate. There we go. Now bring your head a little teeny bit back to your left. Yes, there we go. Notice how when we bring, this is my favorite view. If you've studied with me before, you know that my favorite view of the face is the 2/3 view. This is a 2/3 view. We have a little bit of skin right here on this side of the face between her eye, a little bit of skin. Then we bring her eyes back to the camera. That enlarges those eyes. Her eyes don't need enlarging. They're beautiful, but we can enlarge those eyes if we have a client that doesn't have these beautiful eyes. Now all we need is just a little tilt to your right. Just, yes, oh my goodness. Now if we zoom in real close, Ed, if we come in real close, we want to be careful whenever possible to try and not have anything competing with this portion of the face. So I'm either going to bring it out where we definitely see hair, like this, or I'm going to try to get rid of it entirely like this. So we have a real clean 2/3 view of the face. Notice the skin right here. We can see a little bit of skin between the eye and the background. So in this case, I think I'm going to bring out more hair. She has all this gorgeous hair. Now we'll go back. Now even right here, I mean, you can see right here, this would be nice. Let's stop right there. This is cool. I try not to cut off the skin if I can help it. I don't like to what I call creatively compose. Most people call it cropping. I call it creatively composing. I don't want to cut the skin, so I'm going to go just below this sleeve right here, so right there. Now we're going to tilt the camera just a little bit. Tilting can really give you a lot of control. So we're going to tilt her down so she's leaning. Well, actually, let's go the other way first to talk about this one. When you bring a hand up to the chin, you want to have a lean so that it makes sense for the chin and the hand to be there like that. And this, she's leaning on the table. That brings us elbow out, so there's a line, a diagonal line here. Because her left hand is on her hip, we've got a nice line going off the edge here. This would look good in horizontal or vertical composition. We could do it vertically just like this and look very, very nice right about there. Beautiful, beautiful. 2/3 view, narrow light. The side of the face that's towards the camera is in shadow. Very nice hand. Looks gorgeous. I love it. I love it. Now just hang in there for just a minute. We're going to change you, so just stay there for a second. I want to show you an example here of pose number 1, because 1 is a beautiful, beautiful pose, and you can do so many different things with it. This is a feminine pose number 1, where we have tilted the camera the opposite direction to what we are doing right now. But see how beautiful it is. The hand comes up. One of the important parts of it is a slight bend of the wrist to the feminine. We bend the wrist back gently, photographing into the side of the hand, not into the broad part of the hand. This really has a tendency of enlarging people's eyes because you let their chin come down onto that hand, and it brings their eyes up a little bit, giving us a little more whites. It makes it a really dynamite photograph. So if we go back to Jill now, and we keep her just like she is, this is a really, you can see where if she were a man, this would be a very attractive photograph as well, because she's leaning on that hand, it's strong, it's powerful, looks beautiful. But to make it more gentle and feminine, we'll tilt the camera the other way as well, to tilt her back the other direction. So she's actually kind of looking almost up. And then we'll zoom in a little teeny bit closer, being careful not to destroy the cropping or not to cut at the hand though. See, now we'll just bring your chin down a teeny bit. Yep, and tilt your head a little more to your right. Yes, right there. Now I'd like to tilt this even more if I could, but that's all this particular camera will tilt on this tripod. But you can see where you can now bring your eyes off into your right a little bit, right up here. A little bit over here, a little more. Let's go back. There you go. Now eyes down a little bit lower. Yes. Click. There's your photograph. Beautiful. Now let's tilt. I like personally with this particular pose and her the way she is, I like it the other way. So let's go back the other way. Give her a tilt down. This is gorgeous. Now let's just say for a moment we don't mind cutting off skin. Let's come in close up. Let's come as close up right in here. We'll take off the top of her head. We'll take off the palm of her hand. There we go. Now eyes right into the camera. Turn your head ever so slightly to your right, just a little more. There we go. Eyes come back. We'll bring a little bit of hair back on this side, but just very slightly. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Now let your head tilt a little more to your right. Oh, I love this. Look at that. Guaranteed sale. Vertical composition. Okay, so we're actually composing right through here. Okay, this is really pretty right in there. And that's pose number one. Now pose number two, let's go to pose number two, is almost the same setup here where we have the table, but we're going to bring your hand now to the side of your face, right up by the temple, so we have to raise up our table a little bit here. Bring it up a little bit higher. Okay, now what I like to do is to kind of guide them and tell them what to do and see how they do themselves. If they do a really nice job on their own, I'll just leave it and take the photograph. But a lot of times what happens is they'll try to give you some kind of beautiful hand or something, and most people don't have hands like Jill has here. So what we'll do is we'll make it so that we don't, let's pretend she doesn't have these beautiful hands, and we'll just turn it like this, and we'll bring it up a little bit higher even so that your hand ends up between your ear and your eye, right here in the hard part of the face, right in here. So it comes up higher even than this. You can lean down a little bit more. Yep. And we want to photograph into the side of the hand, so we're going to turn the hand a little bit like this. Now some people have a real problem with this because they say, oh, you can see the knuckles and stuff a little harder, but I think it's more natural. What I want is natural. I want a little bit of a bend of the wrist right here. See how soft this bends into the feminine right here? We have sure we can see, but people have knuckles, okay? Knuckles are no problem, they're part of the body. But I want a little feminine pose, or a little feminine bend right here. Now we still want the 2/3 view of the face, which means if we're going to have the 2/3 view of the face, we have to turn your head a little bit more to your right. Just go right around, there you go. Now bring your eye back to the camera, eyes back, yes, there we go. Your right hand, or your left hand goes on your hip. That sets this shoulder line right here. Even though we don't really see it in the photograph, it did make a difference when she brought her hand up on her hip. I mean, that's a gorgeous photograph, horizontal or vertical. How can it fail? Who could resist that? It's beautiful. And you can mess around a little bit with the hair over here, you know, and you can start bringing more hair around and soften this over here if you want. Then compose it vertically, and so you have all hair here. Or you can leave it like this, where we're showing the outfit, a little more of the style of the outfit here with the shoulders like this. But that is just absolutely gorgeous. Now let me show you an example of pose number 2 here. Hold on, Jill, you look great. So you can do all kinds of beautiful things with pose number 2. Here's a child's portrait, a little girl, beautiful photograph, pose number 2. Hand up to the side of the face. It's not as perfect as Jill's is because you've got a little child here and you can't be as exact. But that's so pretty and it really accentuates the eyes. And it's so much more interesting than just a straight head and shoulders portrait with no hand. Okay, here's another one. Classic pose number 2. Laying down, really pretty. This is great for graduating seniors. Here's another one, really pretty. And here's an example of a pose number 2 with 2 people, okay, like this. So you can also build these poses into different compositions of different people. So here we have the gentleman in pose number 4, which we haven't gotten to yet, but we'll talk to you about in a minute. And here we have the gal in pose number 2, hand up to the side face. Notice where the hand is, right around the eye and the ear area, not down in the cheek area like it was with the little girl. With the little girl, if you have it down in the cheek area, see, and if she starts doing some leaning, you're going to start deforming this part. This is a very soft part of the face right in here. So with a little girl, I mean, you do the best you can with what you've got because she's such a cutie and you don't want to lose the expression. But to do it absolutely perfectly, we want to bring the hand up higher so that it does not deform the face in any way at all. So that's pose number 2. Really, really beautiful, sells really, really well. So now let's go to pose number 3. So you can pop that off a minute here and just relax for a second. We'll take this up over in front here like this. Now one of the rules that I have is that 90% of the time when I'm doing photographs, my posing table is in between the subject and the main light. It just always ends up over here because we're leaning around it. We're working our way towards the main light all the time to get that narrow lighting on the face. So as a general rule, when you're just setting up your camera room, I just automatically go in and set my posing stool and my table between where the subject's going to be and where the light is. Now we're going to bring in for this a little plexiglass, a little black plexiglass here, so that we can have a little reflection on what she's going to be leaning on. Now the neat thing about this is that even though it gets kind of fuzzy and dirty and fingerprinty and stuff, when you look through the camera you can't see any of that stuff. It looks really cool. Now what I usually will do for pose number 3, because most people don't feel very comfortable in front of a camera, what I'll usually do is I will show them the pose first. So we'll let you hop up for just a second, Jill, and I'll show you what we're going to do here. And you can stand right there. Yes. So you can see what I'm doing. And it gives me a chance to kind of set the distances away from the thing and stuff and get it really perfect. Now what you're going to be doing here is you're sitting on the edge of your stool, feet flat on the floor. Then you're going to lean forward. The key here is you're starting further away from this table than normal. And then you're going to lean forward onto the table. Okay, this feels a little teeny bit high. We want room to lean. Now, most people will go like this, plunk, plunk, which is okay, but it's kind of static. But I've done pose 3 like this before when I'm desperate. But if I've got somebody who has the flexibility, like I do with Jill here, we're going to bring the hands into a V shape. And if the outfit will let you do it, okay, if the outfit will give you the flexibility, we'll bring it into a V shape. Instead of straight across like this, we want to come into a V shape. It's much more interesting. And then you're going to lean your chin down, not the side of your face like this, okay? But just the chin like this. It feels really stupid when you do this pose, okay? It really feels dorky. But man, when you look through the camera, it looks like $1,000,000, okay? So let's let you sit down there. And this is basically how I talk to my clients when I'm working with them. So now you bring your hands up. Yep. Now we want to do this with a long sleeve outfit, something that covers this elbow, because this elbow is going to be in that photograph, and we don't want to photograph right into the elbow if it's a bare elbow. Okay, so now we want to kind of fuss a little bit with the jewelry and things, and then we'll just bring your chin right down there. And I basically let her put her hand the way she wants to see how I like it. And then if I don't like it, I'll change it. So now we'll just tilt your head a little bit to your right. There you go. And you can see we're on our way. We're not there yet. I'd like a little work, needs a little work. We've got a little bit of puffiness going up here in the padding and this stuff. But you get the idea. I'm not going to take the time to have her change outfits 100 times here. I want you just to get all the poses nice and quickly. But you can see where you want to watch this area here. If you have a lot of padding in the shoulder area, pose number 3 might not work as well as it would with a sweater that's a little tighter than this. But now let's play with your hands. Let's put your right hand on top of your left hand a minute just to see what happens here. So let's bring this hand up on top. Yeah. And then let's bring your chin right down here. This is not bad at all. Now when you do this, you want to be real careful not to let her just lay the chin real heavy on here, or it changes the shape of her chin and her face. So the idea is to have you just touch it. So you are making contact, but there's not a lot of weight. Now let your head tilt to the right a little bit. Okay, now we're getting close. We're going to play a little bit with the hair. This is a This is a beautiful photograph. It works like a charm. Clients love it. It's really pretty. And when she's got hair like this, you can play with the hair. What I try to do with the hair is notice how I tucked it back. You don't go like this. It just really looks not good. I bring it back in like this. I don't pretend to be a hairdresser, but I do know what looks good through the camera. And what I want to do is to have it flow a little bit like this. Now again, I don't particularly love the hair going over this part of the shoulder here because we can't see that it's the outfit that's padding this up. And so she may not like this. So what we're going to do is come in a little more close-up for this. So let's bring it in a little closer. And we'll probably end up with a vertical pose number 3 here. Okay, so I want to see hair here so that there's nothing competing with the side of her face, or I want nothing at all behind there. This looks really pretty. Now the key to pose number 3 is the tilt. So we're going to tilt this camera. See how she tilted her head and it came alive right there? Now just barely touch your hand and your chin. Yes. Now a little turn to the right, just a little bit with your head. Yes. Okay, and a little more tilt to the right. Yes. Now we come in and we're going to tilt that camera, which tilts her down. It really starts, look at this, look at this. There it is. Bingo, that's good right there. That's gorgeous. Now, if we go vertical, we'll just back up a little bit, and we'll let you use your imagination here. We'll back up a little bit further. Now, there. We're picking up the reflection here from the plexiglass, and then we will compose this photograph vertically, which will minimize this effect over here, because we'll be stopping right about here. And we're going to compose this in such a way that her eyes are on the top third of this composition, so that means we have to come in a teensy bit closer, just a little bit, and then aim down a little bit, so we can get her eyes right up there. Okay, there we go. So go aim down just a little higher. Bring, yep. You say, oh no, my goodness, you cut the top of her head off. It looks really cool with the top of her head off if you put her eyes right on the top third. Okay, so this is a vertical composition. Absolutely beautiful. Hang in there, Jill. You're great. Let me show you an example, a couple examples of pose number 3, because this is really one of my favorites. Okay, now this is a straight-on pose number 3. Okay, where she's aiming straight to the camera. I normally do not do this. Well, notice if you go back to Jill, if we can just fade back to Jill live a minute here, you'll see how she is not straight on there. She is actually turned towards the main light, then her head turns back to the camera in a perfect 2/3 view. That's very thinning pose number 3. But when we come back here, this is a little girl. She's got all this chubbiness and everything. It looks really, really cute. And so we've got her actually leaning right down straight towards the camera on this little brick wall. Okay? So it's really cute. You can see the little pudginess here. It looks really, really darling for little children. But as we go into older women, okay, like a graduating senior, for example, here, notice how we've gone back to being on an angle. Okay, her hands, her arms are not straight towards us. They are on an angle. That gives us an approximate 2/3 view of the face. This is absolutely beautiful. Brings out her eyes. Here's a vertical, an example of a vertical pose number 3. Really, really pretty. Classic graduation type portrait. Lighting coming from behind, beautifully lighting her hair. But our attention goes right here. This is a wonderful pose if you have someone who's a little overweight, because it hides the chin area, the jowl area, all this area right in here underneath her chin. It hides it all away, and yet she looks very, very thin there. Very, very attractive pose number 3. I love that. So now for pose number 4, we can let you just sit up for a second here, and we'll get rid of this whole table and everything. Pose number 4 is one of my favorites. I cannot imagine doing a photographic session without pose number 4. I can't imagine it because it sells all the time. Clients love it. It's really pretty. You can use it with all kinds of different things. So now for pose number 4, you just fold your arms. Okay. Now, what I first do is exactly what I just did. I just showed her what I meant and said fold your arms like so. What I'm going to do is to see which way she folds her arms. Now everybody has a certain way they always fold their arms, and if you have them unfold them and fold them again, they'll do it the same way. If you say, no, do it the other way, and they'll go back, no, now I'll do it the other way, and they go back and it's the same thing. So what we want, that feels comfortable to her, the way she is. Now in this case we had a 50-50 chance, and she did it the way we wanted her to do it. Worked out really well, and I'll show you why in just a moment. But if she had done it backwards to the way I'm going to build this composition, I would have simply had her change it, and I would help her get it the right, because it feels so awkward. See, now I'm folding my hands backwards to the way I usually do, and this feels really, really awkward to me. Okay, but she's perfect. So now we'll rotate you to your right. There we go. Okay, now what this does, what we're after here, is to have the hand that is farthest away from the camera be the hand that we can see, and the hand that is going to be closer to the camera is tucked away. Now if you have this unbelievably professional, sophisticated model that's unbelievably good, like Jill here, you could actually show this hand. You could bring this hand out, okay, and she could give, if I say, okay, now pose that hand, she knows that you want to photograph into the side of the hand. She tilts it back a little bit. We've got the fingers, and this is not half bad at all. I mean, you got to mess with the outfit a little and stuff. But the idea here is not, but most people don't have a really, really pretty hand where they can just automatically fall into that. So we just tuck it in. So you tuck it right in, it's gone. Okay? You see a little stub right here of wrist, but it's not unattractive. You know there's a hand on the other end. Whereas if you do it the other direction and have this hand here tucked down, it does look like the end of a stub. She looks deformed. So that's why we always have this hand coming up. In fact, we can get a little more if you've got any more. Yep, there we go. Now this is kind of hard with this outfit because it's got a lot going on. I'm going to get down here and I'm just going to yank down a little bit here. This is what you always have to do with pose number 4. Because if they've got a sweater on or a blouse and as they fold their arms, it gets all bunched up in here. And you want this photograph to look like $1,000,000. So to get it to look like $1,000,000, you just tell them what you're doing. You go down, you just do a little yanking. It smooths things out here, okay? Now we've got the hand that's farthest away from the camera is the hand that we see. We're real careful with the jewelry to make sure everything is perfect. We rotate you a little more to your right. There we go. Turn your head just a teeny bit to your left. Yes, okay. There's the 2/3 view. It's the same view of the face we've seen in every one of these photographs because that's just a gorgeous, gorgeous, pleasing view. We got to work with the hair a little bit. And we also have one section of this photograph that is not particularly attractive, which we're going to want to talk about here. But let's get the pose first. What I'm probably going to do is to bring this side of the hair forward. See how beautiful that is? Look at this. If you don't even have to... This is gorgeous. Now, the least attractive portion of this photograph is right here. Very, very unattractive. This part is rounded, little round shoulder here, and then in this particular outfit, we've got a little thing sticking out here. This is never the most beautiful part of this pose. So, as a general rule, we want to put something there to break the eye so that the eye travels away and doesn't travel down. So what I use, if I'm outdoors, I'm going to use a tree. So I'll get her posed just absolutely perfectly. I mean, she's exactly right, and then we'll move a tree in. Little humor there. Obviously, if we're outside, we're going to use the tree and lean her against the tree. Now, if we don't have a tree, or if we're inside, I'm going to bring in something that we can break that line. So that's what we're going to do here, and we can put it either behind her. Now let's straighten the camera up a little bit, Ed, so that this is a perfect vertical here. And we'll just straighten this right up so it's absolutely vertical. Beautiful. But I still see, in this particular instance, I still see this little flap thing here, which is really cute, but it doesn't do a thing for the portrait. So I might bring it up in front and make it look like she's leaning against this window, like that. Okay? So now we have successfully had our eye come up this way, go through her eyes, looking beautiful down through her expression, and then stops here instead of rolling down. And so our eye stays within the composition of the photograph. Again, this is a vertical photograph, so we're going to creatively compose it right here and right over here. And it's a vertical photograph. Pose number 4 is gorgeous. Now I'm losing her hand right here with this gorgeous hair. Most people don't have hair as wonderful as this, but I'd like to see her hand and her ring and things if I can. Of course, you want to be sure to make sure that the jewelry is absolutely perfectly centered. Everything looks absolutely perfect. Let your head tilt just a little to your right. Oh my gosh, look at that photograph. It's a guarantee, it's beautiful. Be real picky with the hair, of course, okay? I'm just trying to show you the poses here, okay? So hang in there, Jill. Let me show you a couple of examples of what we can do with pose number 4. Just real quickly, here's one. And you can see how interesting this looks when it's done properly, when we have the hand that is furthest away from the camera is the hand that we see with the ring all perfect, everything is right. The hand that's closest to the camera is tucked away. Beautiful. Then the head tilts gently. This is almost a masculine pose because this shoulder sometimes will end up being a little bit lower than this one. In this case, we've got her leaning against something which lowers this shoulder a little bit, so her head is tilting towards the upper shoulder. You just can't see it because of all the hair. This is a very, very exciting pose. Here's one we did of Jill. It's absolutely gorgeous against our stucco wall with our adaptive spot, with our brick pattern going through it. Beautiful, beautiful photograph. Pose number 4, classic pose number 4. Very, very attractive pose. So now you can rest for a second here, and we'll take this away, and we'll talk about pose number 5. Now, pose number 5 is one of my favorites as well. Pose number 5 is where you just put your hands on your hips. Okay, so you just sit there and put your hands on your hips. Now here we have to be kind of careful for a couple things. Number one is we don't want her to look too broad-shouldered. So as a general rule, we're going to turn her to her right, towards the light, but not always. Okay, now in this case, let's go away from the light. Let's skim around to your left. Yes, oh boy, this is going to be cool. You can see how the light now is skimming across her outfit, giving lots of texture to her figure and to her outfit. So now you turn your head to your right. A little bit more turn of your head to your right, okay. And let's see if we can get this beautifully composed. Now, pose number 5, I normally want to show the hands. So that means that we have to be far enough back to see her hands on her waist. So let's zoom back just a little bit here, Ed, so that we can see her hand. Now keep in mind this is there we go. This is a vertical composition. Okay, so we're going to take it off here and here. You're not going to see this reflector stand over here. It's going to come right like this. It's going to be really pretty. Now you just turn your head a little bit more. Yes, chin comes down a little bit. Yes, eyes back to the camera. Okay, now there's no hair or anything yet. We haven't done anything with the hair. But look at this. Now one of the things you want to try for with pose number 5 is to have the hands on different levels. Makes it a little more... Now, and the way you can do that is she can give us a little bit of a hip. A lot of times I'll do this standing. Although when she looks so good here, we'll just leave it. She's sitting right now. But when we do this, we want to have the hand kind of into the side. If we at all possibly can, we're photographing into the side of the hand. And I like to see a little teeny bit of, whatever that thing's called, what's that? Wrist. We want to see a little bit of the wrist. Even if I have to bunch up the outfit a little teeny bit, in my opinion, I like to see a little bit of wrist rather than have it come all the way down like that. So I would take a little clip and clip it right here so that it holds it up just a little bit. Her other hand is a little bit lower, looks beautiful, sit up real straight and tall. The light is now skimming across her outfit so we can see all the little teeny wrinkles and everything. So we're going to have to come around in front here and do a little bit of nitpicking, and this is just what I do. I'm real careful where I touch her, but I'm going to nitpick to get the wrinkles as best as I can without being ridiculously fussy, but I want to be fussy. She wants you to be fussy. She wants the portrait to look like $1,000,000. Got everything perfect, sit up a little straighter and taller. See, I've still got that one little wrinkle right there that is bothering me. So obviously if this were a demonstration on doing an actual photographic session, I would either come in there and we'd take the time to really fuss with that, or I would turn her towards the camera. I'll show you that in a minute. But let's do the whole finished portrait here. Let's decide how we want this hair. I think I'm going to bring this side in front. She has beautiful, beautiful hair. By bringing this side in front, I'm not getting a shadow on her face. If I bring this side in front, I'm going to start getting shadows on her face. So I'm bringing some hair over here like this. Again, picture this in your mind as a vertical composition going just below her hands and just above her head. Let's go up just, bring her, go up with the camera just a tad. There we go. That puts the eyes on the third. This is a gorgeous portrait. We love it. So there's pose number 5 from the front. Let's turn you towards the light a minute to see how it washes out the wrinkles. There we go. See, now all these wrinkles and things are gone. You turn your head to your left a little bit. There you go. Chin down a little bit. Okay, now we're going to have to change the hair a little bit. So we'll maybe bring this over here a little more. We'll bring this back a little bit. Let's just play around a minute here to see what we can get. But I liked it with the light skimming across her outfit. But if you're in a hurry, you're pressed for time, and we have a little bit of a wrinkle, then you can do it this way, and you don't see as much detail in here because the light is flatter on her body and on her outfit. Get the necklace is perfect. Now I want a little more elbow out here. Yes. And let's bring this elbow bent, a little more bent. There we go. More to the side. You got it. You got it. Oh, man, I love this little tilt of your head to your right. There you go. Perfect. Eyes right into the camera. Pose number 5. Wonderful. Let me show you an example of pose number 5 from the front, because we're going to do pose number 5 from the rear here in a minute, which is one of my favorites too. But here's a classic pose number 5 from the front. Okay, using a blazer, which we normally don't like to photograph blazers. This is really cute. This portrait hangs this size in the client's home. They actually invested in this portrait, even though it's kind of wild and different. Looks really cool. We're using our adaptive spot to create this effect back there. Hands on the hips. She's not a professional model, but she looks great. It was cute. It was a graduating portrait. She liked it. I'd prefer not to have the ring sticking out here, so if I went back to do this over again, of course, I would take that off. I'd bring her chin down a teeny bit more. There's always things that you can do to improve a portrait, but basically this is absolutely gorgeous, and they loved it, and that's what counts. Now let's do pose number 5 from the rear. So you just stay like that, Jill, and you swivel right around to your right. There you go. Turn your head to your left. There you go. Hands on the hips, of course. Yes. So we still have hands on the hips. Okay. Pose number 5 is hands on the hips. It's a very aggressive, confident kind of a pose. Okay. Now we're going to have to decide what to do with this hair over here, but let's get the pose first. Let's rotate you a little bit to your right, just a little bit to get more of the feel. There we go. Now you turn your head to your left, crank, crank, crank. This is a real crank type of a pose, but in this case she's got all this hair covering up the neck because this puts some wrinkles in the neck when you turn your head this far. But now just bring your chin down ever so slightly, tilt your head a little bit to your right. Yep. Now if you come in real close, just zoom in real close on her face a minute, Ed, so we can study this. Okay. This is also exactly another pose. Okay, this is what we call our rear 2/3 view of the face, which is pose number 14. But this is really, really pretty here if we go back further. But if we here, we can see we want her nose inside this part of her cheek. We don't want the nose sticking out. So we'll turn your head a little more to your right if you can, or left. Yeah, that you did it correctly. And let your head tilt a little to your right. Okay. This is really cute. Let your shoulders drop just a little. There we go. So we have a shape right in here, a separation between her chin. Now let's go back to getting the hands in this photograph and do a rear pose number 5. So we go back here like so. We've got pose number 5. Most of the time I will do this standing up. The idea here is to get these diagonal lines here. Okay, play a little bit with the hair so that the hair looks really pretty through the camera. Might even bring some of it more around this way like this. And of course, take a little brush and just a little bit of softening right in here. That's pose number 5. Looks really cool in the right outfit. I don't love this as much in this outfit as I would in a different outfit. As I like the front pose number 5 better. But this is really, really pretty. Now you can rest for a second and let me show them rear pose number 5. Because rear pose number 5 is really, really attractive. This is one of my favorites right here in red with a hat. And that's a classic pose number 5 from the rear, showing the back design of the dress, which is really, really pretty and striking right here. You can also do it with a little more hair and a little bit more sexy type of a feeling here, a short mini skirt type of an outfit. Really, really cute. Pose number 5 starts to show off a little of the shape here and a little bit of the shape here, lighting the hair from behind. But that's classic pose number 5. But if we zoom in close up on this portrait, we really have a pose number 14 that you're going to see in a minute. So they kind of combine together. But from a distance, this is pose number 5. So now, let's go to pose number 6. Pose number 6 is really cool. What we're going to do here is we're going to bring up something to just as a base, because you're going to actually see a piece of this in the photograph. So you can use a step ladder and have her leaning on a step ladder or something, but we're just going to use this. And let's put your right elbow up here and bring your hand under your chin. Now put your left hand on your hip. And you can say, oh boy, that looks like pose number 1. Well, it is pose number 1, but what we're doing here is we're going back a little bit further. To make it pose number 6, it's actually turning out to be a 3/4 length portrait here. So I'm going to bring the hair around on this side because she's got all this gorgeous hair, like so. And again, keep in mind, I'm very, very picky. I would pick at all this. I'd make sure it's perfect. I'm just trying to show you the poses here before we run out of tape. So I'm going to roll right fast. But this is pose number 6. Back up a little bit more even, Ed. And let's show that left hand in the photograph so that we go all the way down to the hand. Again, we can probably soften it just a little. You bet, a little bit of rolling of the fingers. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Looking right here, looking really great. Maybe just a little turn so that we're photographing into the side of the hand with a slight bend of the wrist. Bring the elbow out a little bit further. This is cool. Now turn your head a little to your right. Yep. Tilt your head a little to your right. Yep. Here we go. That's pose number 6. But see, now this shows in this portrait. So you want to have it be something that's either interesting that has a reflection or something, or you want to have a step ladder where the step ladder comes down. Let me show you an example of pose number 6 where we used a step ladder right here. Okay, there's pose number 6 with a step ladder. And you can see how cool this is. We're showing this hand here, or part of it. We're showing the hand coming up here under the chin. Really, really cool. Throws her head a little bit off center. Makes a really nice lines here with the red step ladder. Really, really cool. Another example of pose number 6, slightly modified, is one we've done of Jill before, right here. This is really a modified pose number 6, where what she's leaning on is her knee. So we brought her leg up so that her knee comes down here, her elbow comes down on her knee. And then instead of having her hand under her chin like that, she has this great earring on. So in this case, we're going to let the earring break the line here. This is a cute photograph, different photograph. Notice the hand, slight bend of the wrist, hands photographing into the side of the hand. Really, really cute, but that's pose number 6. Now pose number 7, you can break a second here. Pose number 7 is really, really good outside. It is not as effective inside as it is outdoors with trees and bushes and stuff. But if I were to do pose number 7 indoors, which I have been known to do in the past, I would make use of some kind of a posing screen or a standing screen like this. And let me show you what I mean by that. We'll come right in front of you here, Jill. And we'll set this baby up, deciding which side of it we want to see. Let's see this side over here. So we'll put it right here, preferably not being able to see the little damage here. Okay, well now what you do is we're going to scoot you a little more over behind the screen here. So you just kind of slide over a little ways. There you go. The key to this is the lean that she's going to give us. So now the screen comes right in front of her to where we cannot see her anymore. Okay, we call pose number 7 the peekaboo pose. So now you kind of scooch right towards the screen here. Yep. And she leans out around it. Now when she leans out around it, using the waist, that drops this right shoulder. By dropping the right shoulder, that means her left shoulder is the highest. So now notice how her head is automatically tilted towards the upper shoulder. It's a classic feminine pose. Now we got to get the view of the face and everything, so let's turn your head to your right. There you go. Chin comes down a little. Tilt your head a little to your right. Eyes back to the camera. Bingo. Pose number 7. Peeking around. Now, of course, we're going to sit up a little straighter if we can, so we get our outfit perfecto. We're going to see what we want to do with the hair. The hair here is really, really pretty right here. If we pull it out in front, we're going to get a shadow in here. I don't think I want to do that. We can make a little more hair over here and bring in our screen really close. And then come in a little bit closer, Ed, so it's a little, you know, right about from here to there. Really, really pretty. Ooh, not too far, yep. There we go. Now a little bit more of a tilt of your head to your left, just a little bit towards the upper shoulder. Turn your head to your right a little bit. Eyes back to the camera. A little more tilt, a little more lean. Lean out a little bit more. Click. There's your photograph. Pose number 7. Pose number 7 is really cute with children as well. This is really cute. We're actually using a strong tree with a lot of texture to contrast with the smoothness of her face. She's behind the tree. We call it the peekaboo pose. You can see why. She's peeking around the tree. Beautiful for the eyes. Really, really interesting. If I were taking Jill outside to do an outdoor portrait of Jill, I would simply have her with some trees here, not the trunk of the tree, but some trees with branches, like evergreens. And she could lean one way and then tilt her head towards that upper shoulder a little bit, and she would look gorgeous. We do this all the time for graduating seniors. Pose number 7. Now, pose number 8 is a beautiful pose. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Pose number 8 is really cute in a short skirt where you can see a little bit of the skin. Let's turn your body to your right a little bit. Now you just bring your right knee up a little bit and put your hands around your knee. But not too much now, just a little bit. Yep, beautiful. Now the key, there's a couple keys to pose number 8 that I want to talk to you about here. The first key is the least attractive part of this pose is the back right in here. So you want to be real careful that they don't roll their back when they do this. The second is that we don't want straight lines from her arms. So she has to bend those elbows a little bit, okay, so that we can see a bend. Then you arch your back so that we straighten this line here. Okay, again, we're going to be real fussy with her hair. She has beautiful, beautiful hair, so we're going to want to take the time if we're doing an actual session to do this. But we've got 25 poses we're showing you here, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker and not fuss as much with her hair now that you've got the idea that you know I am going to take the time to fuss. Okay, and then let's back up so we can see your hands and bring these up a little bit higher. And basically we're tangling them, and you say, boy, you're photographing right into the broad side of the hand. I don't care, it looks really cute. This is a darling pose. This also gets better as you tilt the camera. Okay, so if we take and actually tilt the camera, where we take and tilt her back, so she's actually leaning back the other way. Go back, back, back. There it is. Let me get out of the way. Look how pretty that looks. That's pose number 8. Look for the little bend of the elbow right here, and look for the arched straight back. This is really, really, really cute. That is a darling, darling photograph. So you can rest a minute. Let me show you an example of pose number 8. Really pretty. This one was done exactly the way you just saw it, only with a short skirt. Really cute. Gets you a little bit of leg and skin, but nothing improper. Looks really darling. The elbows are slightly bent. The back is arched so that we get a nice bend. Nice expression, narrow light, 2/3 view of the face. Sitting on the floor. This one is really pretty. Sitting on the floor, we can also use pose number 8. It's darling for little girls, darling for seniors. Really cute. It's also very nice for part of a family portrait. If you're doing a portrait of the whole family and you've got a child, a female child, even a guy doesn't look bad in pose number 8, but we're not talking about men in this particular video. But this is a very attractive pose, pose number 8. Notice the hands, notice the bend of the elbows, a little arching of the back, so it looks really, really pretty. So that brings us to pose number 9. Now for pose number 9, we use the lapel of her outfit. Now, we could go back and put a blazer on her or something, but she does have something here that might work. So we're going to give it a try. So we just simply bring your right hand up and grab a hold of this. Now, notice the wrist is slightly bent back. We're grabbing a hold here. We've got this finger a little bit further out. If we can zoom in real close on the fingers and the hands, this one's a real critical one with the hand. Okay, see, we want the bend here of the wrist to the feminine, and then we just have the pointer finger out a little bit more than the other fingers. And we can play a little bit by photographing more into the side of the hand, but that it's really important when we're doing the hands that we have the pointer finger slightly more out than the other fingers. So now we'll back up a little bit. We'll straighten right here, the sleeve. There we go. Now we'll put your left hand on your hip. That sets the shoulder line, makes this line right here much more interesting. Then let's go back the other way without that hand on the hip again, just so they can see. See, it's just blunk, not attractive at all. Go back with hand. Boy, looks confident, looks really, really cute. Now, of course, we're going to fuss with the hair, make the hair absolutely beautiful. We're probably going to bring the hair around on the front here. This is pretty. I love this. Jill, you look like $1,000,000. Look at this. Oh, man. This is you can really, really use this for a lot of applications. I'll show you a few of them in just a minute here. This is really, really pretty. Okay, just like that, looking good. Now let's give her a little bit more of a lean, so she's leaning downward a little bit, makes her a little stronger. So we'll just tilt the camera. Yup, there we go. Okay, that's good right there. Now we'll back up ever so slightly so that we've got a little bit of the hand. We don't want to cut the hand off if we can help it in this case. Now that's really beautiful right there. Vertical composition. Okay, again, we would go vertical right here like this, possibly even taking a little bit of the edge of the elbow off, which is fine because it's not bare skin. Looks really, really pretty. Step out of the way. You can see how cute that is. Now staying just like that, let's go in above the hand. Let's zoom in just above the hand. There. Very cute. Let's go up a little bit so that we don't chop the top of her head off. Puts her eyes on the top, right on the third here. That's darling. This thing is just a real, she looks like a professional model, which I mean, now of course Jill is. But if you have your normal client that you're working with who is not a professional model and you put her into this kind of a pose, she really does look like a professional model, and their parents love the photograph, and she likes to hand it out to all of her friends because she looks like she should be a professional model. So let me show you an example of pose number 9. Jill, you can rest for a second. This is a ball. I love this pose. Whenever you have any kind of like a leather jacket, love this with leather jackets, where you bring a hand up here, turn the head, you tilt the camera a little bit, really, really cute. If you back up a little bit, you can do one. This is one standing with her hand on her hip. Darling, using that design, using the design of the leather jacket, just brings the hand right up, it flows, it looks very, very confident, really pretty. You can do one more here like this. You can get the idea, you can do them close up like so, or you can back away further. Here's one we did of Jill, just beautiful. Pose number 9, really, really pretty. Pose number 9 is a very, very versatile pose. Let me show you a couple more just because I really, really like this pose. If they give me something that we can use to bring that hand up, so you have one hand up, you have one hand down, looks really, really darling. Here we have the roller skates over her shoulder, which gives a placement for the hand. If we had not had the roller skates, we could have used the lapel right here or this area right up in here. But it's just a natural. It looks so beautiful. Once you learn these poses and learn them really, really well, it really, really looks cool. You can use it, be versatile. Let's go to really versatile. Let's modify it substantially here and go to this where you actually don't have a lapel to work with. So this is a modified pose number 9 where we're using her hand on the zipper of the swimming suit here. The other hand's on the hip. But that's a classic pose number 9. You can see where if she had a blazer on right now, that this hand were up here on the lapel of the blazer, that's pose number 9. Now let's go to pose number 10 here. We've got a hat added on to Jill's head here. We're going to turn you a little bit to your right. We're going to bring her right hand up to her hat. Now, it was easier for her if we bring in our table so that she can kind of lean down on the table. The table isn't actually going to show, but it helps her be more comfortable when she's leaning down. The important thing here is to keep the light down low enough underneath here so that the light goes into her eyes. We want to have beautiful, beautiful light going into her eyes. We don't want to lose that. Now we've got the little fluffies back here, which adds a little depth. That's fine. We want a little bit of a side view of the hand if at all possible. Let your head tilt a little to your right. Now turn it a little to your right. Yes, chin down a little bit more. Put the left hand on your hip. Now we'll just play with the hair a little bit to get some more hair through here. She's got all this gorgeous hair. So we'll bring some hair along in here like this to get this. We'll bring in a little closer now so we don't see the table at all. We're going to concentrate on her eyes. What we're after here is her eyes. I want to get a little more of her hair here. And bring it across. Poor hair's had a rough day here, huh? It's looking good though. It's looking good. There we go. You can see how you can play when someone has hair like this. You can really, really play with it. I'm going to take this back like that. Maybe even clean the entire 2/3 view of her face up right there. Oh yes, now this is coming alive. Hats are really neat because they make the photograph, they add something to the photograph and make it look really, really interesting. We'll add a little bit right in here. We could probably add a little bit more softening of her hair right in here along the shoulder lines, but it looks really good like it is, so we'll leave it. Now we're going to come in a little bit closer so we don't see the bottom of the elbow. There we go. Now we're going to tilt this camera so that she's tilted down again. It gives her a real life, real vivaciousness here to her style. There it is. Look at this. Let me bring it in just a little bit closer. Try to take the top of the hat off. Yes, there. Notice how we've got her eyes on the third now, the top third of the photograph. Compositionally, this is absolutely gorgeous. We'll bring in our reflector to add a little more detail right in here to the shadow side of her face. Bringing this in just like so. To add a little more light in here, we'll feather the light a little bit more towards the reflector so that some more of the light bounces back to give us approximately a 3-to-1 lighting ratio. Oh, that is just gorgeous. Look at that. Let's take a look at an example here. Number 10 is really, really cute because you're getting this neat diagonal line coming in here. You bring the hand on up. Notice the feminine wrist here, a little bit bend back. It's really cute. The eyes are off center. She's kind of peeking out from underneath the bill of her hat. Really, really darling. Again, we want to be real careful to make sure that we lower the light level enough to where we are getting light into her eyes. So we want to lower that main light down enough to get in there, as we had mentioned before. This is also a nice touch right here where we frame this side of the photograph with a little bit of hair right here. So that's pose number 10. Now we go back to pose number 11 here. Now pose number 11 is the masculine head and shoulders portrait. Masculine, but it looks absolutely fabulous on women as well as men. So let's do our masculine head and shoulders portrait. By masculine we mean that the chin or face does not turn past the axis of the body. So we'll just bring your right elbow up here, set it down like so. What we're doing that for is to set this line right here. Okay, then we're going to take and put this hand back just a little bit like that. That sets that line right there. Okay, so now we'll rotate you a little more to your right. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, now this is heading her body towards the main light, which is going to flatten out the details on her outfit. I realize that. But for a man, you don't really care. But for a woman, you normally do because you like to show her figure and everything. But in this case, it's a masculine pose number 11, but we're going to use it for a female, which is really pretty. So now you turn your head just a little, tilted a little to the right. Now the masculine pose means that the head is square on the shoulders, not tilted towards the upper shoulder. So that's the whole idea that we're doing here. We're dropping this shoulder down a little bit, just like this, by putting this down on a table. But we're not going to see the table in the finished portrait at all. But then we're not allowing her to tilt her head back towards her upper shoulder. That would make it feminine. So now this is a masculine pose. Her head is square on her shoulders. Now we'll come in a little bit closer so we don't see the elbow area here in the bend. We're just going to come in real close, but being careful not to cut off this area if at all possible, because we want to see there. See, we want to see outfit if at all possible. So we're not cutting across skin. Okay, now the least attractive portion of pose number 11 is again right here. That's why we're putting this arm back a little bit to give a little line rather than just have it roll off and go straight down. Okay, we have a 2/3 view of the face. We messed with the hair a little bit to get everything the way we want it. Let's decide here. I'm tempted to bring this out right like this, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to bring it out on the other side. And I always ask my client which way they want their hair and how they wear their hair and how they feel about it. Okay, Jill's being just a great subject here because she's not giving me any flack, you know. She's just letting me do whatever I want to do with her hair. But in a real session where we're doing actual photographs, we're going to be careful to ask her, you know, is it okay if I bring some of your hair around on this side? And how do you like this? Would this look good? And many times we'll bring a mirror into the camera room and let her look in the mirror to pick at her hair and stuff. But this is really, really cute. I'm not being real picky because I've got to move on and show you the other poses. But this is a masculine pose called pose number 11, masculine. Now you can immediately make this feminine by simply tilting your head a little to your left. Okay? Now this is not particularly attractive. Turn your head a little to your right. Yeah, eyes back to camera. Yeah, it's just, you know, now you say, well, let's tilt the camera. So now we're trying to save it here. So let's see if we can tilt the camera. Let's tilt it one way or the other. Try either way. That ain't bad, you know. But it doesn't have it anymore. It just doesn't flow. This is a masculine pose needing the head to be square. So let's bring your head back square. Oh, yeah. Chin down a teeny bit. Yeah. Vertical composition, okay? Vertically composed right here. Just like that. It's gorgeous. Let me show you a couple of examples of this particular pose because this is so pretty. Here's one very, very classic masculine pose. Pose number 11, head and shoulders, pose number 11. Okay, where her head is square on her shoulders. Here's another one where her head is square on her shoulders, making it basically a masculine pose, but it looks great with women, especially if you do a nice set of separation lighting on her hair. It's really, really pretty. And it even works with little girls. Okay, here's a beautiful, classic, low-key, dark little girl. But notice how she is sitting, her head is not turned past the axis of her body. So that makes it a masculine pose. Now her head is slightly not square. This shoulder is a little bit lower than this one. This head should be tilted just a little teeny bit. But she's so cute, it's just gorgeous. But basically, if you had to number the pose, this really is pose number 11, even though it is of a little girl. Same with this one. Although her head is tilted ever so slightly towards the upper shoulder, you can see how this is dropped. This shoulder is lower than this shoulder, and her head is not turned past the axis. If her head kept going and turned over to here, then it would become a feminine head and shoulders portrait. This is a beautiful, beautiful pose for all ages of women, really, really nice. Which brings us to pose number 12, which is a front profile. So we'll turn your body towards the camera. This is right there. This is one of the few times that we'll do a pose where the body aims almost square to the camera, is for our profile photograph from the front. So now we're going to definitely use this table to set the angle. We want this angle right here. Now you turn your head to your right. Okay, and just keep going, going, going. We're not going for 2/3 now, we're going for profile. So she goes all the way around, keep going, there. Now you see how we lost all the beautiful planes of her face. Everything is gone here, we need some help. So we're going to change our main light now. Whenever we go to a profile type of a lighting, we're going to bring the light way around to the side so that again we're getting this beautiful, what we call loop lighting or narrow lighting. Loop right here underneath her nose, the shadow's going this way, the side of her face that's towards the camera is in shadow. Now just bring your chin up. This is a very pretty pose with the chin up, very thinning for this line right in here. Again, we're going to want it clean, so we're going to get rid of this part of the hair. We'll come over here on this side, and we'll bring this back, possibly, especially if it's low key, if all this goes dark like in here. Now for reflector, if we brought a reflector in over here like this, okay, to fill those shadows in, okay, we're getting shadows from the reflector. It doesn't work. We're going to go around this side and actually put, I know this is hard for the video camera to catch this, but we're going to go around to this side and bring it in so that we can actually, no, I can't do that. You're going to see it. Let's go this way. And we'll bring it around in front will feather the light towards the reflector so that we can now fill some detail, wrapping it around, giving us some detail in the shadow side of her face. Bring your chin up a little bit, bring your eyes to your left just a little bit. There you go, okay? So we have a little bit of detail. We're going to go vertical, so we're not going to see the edge of this little thing. We're going to go vertical right up like this. Yep, now this really looks cool with a tilt. So let's tilt her back so she's looking up. So we're going to tilt that camera back. Up she go. Oh man, is this cool. Look at this. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Now this is a vertical composition, so I'm just trying to get rid of this little thing right here, but it's really not going to be in it because it's going to be composed right up into here. And you can say, now we can play with this hair if we want to. Let's experiment just a little bit. Oh boy, this is getting better and better. We were only going to take a minute on this one, but it's so gorgeous, Jill, that we just, look at this. Oh man, chin up a little bit more. Get a little bit of the hair right there. Oh, this is wonderful. I love it. I love it. See, that's beautiful. Now you want to be very careful that what I'm looking for is exactly what we have here, which is just a teeny bit of the eyelash on her right eye. We can just see that eyelash. That's just what I want. Now, different artists will tell you different ways, but I do not like to have her face totally squared away from the camera. I want to see just a teeny bit of that lash, but of course different faces are built differently. And some people, if you went for that lash, you'd have part of the cheek and everything over here too because their eyes are deeper set. In her case, this works absolutely gorgeous like this. It's really, really pretty. Her eyes are up. The light is coming into her eyes. That's a gorgeous portrait. Beautiful, beautiful. Let me show you an example of a front pose number 12. This happens to be a 3/4, almost full length, but you certainly can see how gorgeous it's looking. Her body is aiming directly towards the camera, then her head turns to the right, and we pick up just a teensy-weensy bit of the eyelash over there, but it's basically a front profile photograph. You could turn her head a little teeny bit more than this, just a little teeny bit more, but not so much that I lost everything over here, but I certainly don't want any more of that far right side of her face showing. Very, very classic. Because the light comes from so far over, it picks up all the texture of the stucco wall and all the texture in her gown. Very, very pretty. Front profile. Now, pose number 13 is the rear profile. Rear profile will just rotate you around to your right here. You doing okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. Bring your left arm up. That sets this line. And we're going to turn her as far as we can without breaking her neck, okay? So let's rotate you a little more to your right. Okay, now you turn your head to your left. Of course, we're going to have to get the hair here. So let's take all the hair away carefully here to clean up this area here until we get the pose constructed the way we want it. Now, let's take it like this. Let's rotate everything a little more to your right. Just rotate to your right, a little more. There. Bring your chin up now. Okay, turn your head a little more to your left. Okay, now rotate a little to your left. Go ahead, just to get comfortable. Okay, we'll let this line come out like this. Oh boy, you can see already we're starting to get something really beautiful here. Gorgeous light. We've got a little teeny bit of that lash. This is a rear profile because we're coming in from the rear of her body here. Very, very beautiful for brides that have gorgeous backs of the gowns. Really, really pretty. Again, we're going to try to fill it the same way with the reflector fill over here to bounce the light in. Just carefully. This is not a videotape on how we light our portraits. It's just to give you an idea of the pose, but I want you to see that we are going to fill it with a reflector where it's on the same side of the subject as the main light is. Now we're going to tilt this baby back again. Her chin comes up a little higher. Her eyes are right up there. It looks gorgeous. Now we tilt her back. Oh boy, classic, classic. This is beautiful. Go vertical. Okay, so we're going to have a vertical composition here. Very pretty. A little pick of the hair right here. Of course, I'd be real picky, but you can see what that is. That's pose number 13. Now let me show you pose number 13. Hold on, just don't go away. Hang in there. If we just concentrate on this portion of the photograph right here, and this is a rear profile where we're seeing the back of her wedding gown, all in shadow, and beautiful light coming in, just picking up a little bit of the lash on this side of the face. Very, very classic. Her chin could go up more, and it would be the more her chin goes up, the more classic this pose looks. That's pose number 13, which brings us to pose number 14, which is a very close similar one to this one. All you do is take the whole thing and rotate to your left. So just rotate right around a little bit, just a little, not too much. Okay, and then bring your arm back out here. Turn your head to your left a little. Okay, now just rotate back to the right a little bit more with your body. I want that shoulder. There we go. What this is called is a rear two-thirds view, where we're photographing over her shoulder. Remember when we did pose number 5, we had the same idea here where her hand was on her hip, and pose number 5 from the rear. This is very attractive, very, very attractive. We'll bring our reflector in on the other side. Obviously, if we were lighting this photograph, the reflector would be over here and lighting, filling in the shadow area. Okay, now just sit up real straight and tall. Yep, this is beautiful. Rotate a little more. Yes, turn your head a little more to your left, just a little bit. Now tilt your head a little to the right. Tilt, 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 tilt. Yes. Oh boy, now let's, this is a beauty. I'm getting excited here. Wait a minute, we got to get this just exactly right over here. Let's come in a little more close up, Ed. So we stop the photograph right about here. So we're picking up the shoulder line. Now notice how clean the rear part of her face is right here. There's nothing growing out of her head, no earrings, no hair. Okay, this would just ruin it. See? It loses its snap. You can't tell the difference between where her face stops and her hair starts. You know, if she had black hair, and okay, maybe, but with her hair so beautifully light, I want it out of there, or I want a lot of it. You know, I mean, like with a veil, okay? And give me a veil all along here. But in this case, without a veil, I want it clean back there. Vertical composition, composed right here, going right across here. Bring her eyes up a little higher, if you will. Go down a little bit, come in a little closer. You might even take the top of her head off here. Let's go in a little closer. This is a rear two-thirds view. The biggest situation you have with this particular pose is what happens with the wrinkles right in here in the neck area. So you want to watch for that. Be real careful of that. If it's too objectionable, then either don't do this pose or be prepared to invest in a little bit of enhancement and artwork to smooth those lines out. Now let your head tilt a little more to your right, just a little tilt, chin down a teensy. Oh man, click. There's rear two-thirds view of the face. Love this photo. I love this view. It's almost like you caught her off guard. A lot of times on television for hair commercials, you'll see where they will turn their head back and then they'll swing their head into this direction. Their hair comes flying around like this, and it does it in slow motion, and it just sells that hairspray and sells that shampoo. But it's a rear two-thirds view. That's what that is right there. Oh, you're doing great. Okay, take a rest a minute, Jill. Now we're going to have to change outfits here a little bit because we're going to show you pose number 15, which is our where she has a blazer on. She takes the blazer off. She has a blouse on underneath the blazer, and she puts the blazer over her shoulder. So we'll just take a quick break here while we grab the outfit. All right, so now we're back, and we've put her into a white blouse that normally has a blazer that goes over it. So instead of, obviously you could do some of the poses with the blazer on and stuff and look really cute, but we're just trying to demonstrate to you here pose number 15. So we're going to take her blazer off, and we're going to take the blazer and we're going to bring it over her shoulder and have her take it in her hand like this. Let's show them how not to do it, where you stick your finger into the, you know, when you, yeah. Okay, there's how not to do it. Let's zoom in close up here on the hand so we can see how really gross this looks. Okay, this is how not to do pose number 15. Instead, we're going to take your hand and just grab the thing. Yep. Okay, we're still able to get a nice wrist. We can turn the wrist a little closer to into the side, tilt it back slightly. Okay, that's what we're heading for. Now we'll bring it over so we can see it. Like so. Now we'll take her left hand, put it on your hip. That'll set that line. We always want to set this line right here because this is the least attractive part. Right here is this rolling part of the back. So this covers it all up with that nice shoulder right there. Okay. Then of course we can bring the hair across in front like this. Obviously tilt your head a little to your right. You're looking like $1,000,000. Pose number 15, blazer. Looks so cool. Bring it a little closer to your body with your hand. Yes, she's got her elbow here on the posing table. Now we have to either decide whether we're going to see it or not. In this case, we see it and don't know what it is. So let's zoom in closer and come right up here to her elbow. So zoom in just, there we go. Okay, so now we're not cutting off we're not cutting skin. Okay, we've got this. Now tilt the camera. This just begs to be tilted. Tilting is really important. Your camera should always be tilting in some way to add a little more life to the photograph. You want to clean up this side of the face so I don't see any hair competing with that beautiful line of her face, if I can do that. Let's turn your head a little more to your right. Okay. See, I've got the blazer here because I ruined your hair. There we go. You don't mind, do you? I'm sure. Oh, this is gorgeous. I'm trying to clean this up so there's nothing competing right in here. Or I want lots. See, you know, if you want to do something like that. Okay, but in my feeling, this is a casual, on the way home from work, 9 to 5 type of a photograph. She's on her way home, going to stop for a quick drink somewhere on the way home, meet this neat guy. And so she's just thrown the thing over her shoulders, so I don't want it to look too set up by putting the hair over this. This is really, really cute, pose number 15. Now pose number 16 is really cool. We'll take this away. And for 16, we need some kind of a prop. So we're going to stand you up for a second here. And these are going to do a stand-up photograph. And we're going to bring in our little portable window here. And I'll show you what we're going to do here. This is a really different type of a pose. Really, really cute when done correctly. And we've got to decide which side we want to do it from. I think I'm going to photograph it from this side. So I'll bring this over here like this. There we go. Now, pose number 16 is where the hand and the elbow, you have to have the right kind of outfit for this because it's got to have lots of movement. Her elbow is going to come up here, and then she's going to lean on the side of her head. And obviously, we've got to get the light back and get it up higher. As soon as you bring the head up higher, you've got to bring the light up higher. And so we're going to do this, but what we're going to do is bring your right elbow up and lean against this, and then your hand comes to the side of your head like this, almost behind her head, okay? Then your right hand goes on your hip, or if she had pockets, she could put it in her pocket, something like that. Now, we still want the same view of her face, though, so we're going to turn your head to your right, chin comes down a tad, eyes come back to the camera. Now we're going to zoom in a little closer up here. This is darling outside against a tree. This is real pretty inside. I'll show you what I'll do inside here. I've got this one introduced over here, this little window thing. I'll bring the other one in to break the other side. I can either put it in front of her or behind her. Let's see if I like it in front of her. I almost like it in front of her. Like this. Now again, I've got to get the light on her face just perfectly without casting shadows on her face. Now turn your head a little more to your right. There we go. Tilt your head now a little bit more to your right. Tilt it to your right. Yes. Bring your hand, just lean towards that thing. Yes, yes. Oh boy. This is it. This is it. We got a winner. I almost like it back here now. If I take it back here, I don't get a shadow from it. When I get out of the way, you can see where you're going to compose this vertically. We don't want the reflector over there. We'll take the reflector and bring it in. Of course, we would bring it in to where we can fill a little area right in here, being careful not to cast shadows from her hair. This is beautiful. That's pose number 16. Let's work on this hand a little bit. Maybe bring this up like that so it looks good from the camera. You might even put it down a little bit lower and lean your head a little more into it. Just lean, yep, and then a little more turn to the right. Yes, we got it. Pose number 16. Really cute 3/4 length pose, which brings us to 17, so you can hop off of there a second because we're going to take this all the way here and show you. 17 is a classic wedding photograph. If I bring in a chair, the idea here is a classic feminine pose with one of her hands on a chair. So let's just show you an example here. And what we're going to do is show you the weight distribution. If we go full length first, we'll go full length, and we're going to end up 3/4 length. But let's go all the way back to full length. We'll put our background light over here so it doesn't totally distract, like so. Now, we'll bring you over to this side right here. We'll turn you to your left. We're turning her to her left so the light skims across. Let's pretend she has a wedding gown on, although it can also be a formal gown of some kind. It could be something really, really cool, a beautiful formal gown that she's off to the ball in or something. But we're going to skim the light across her gown. Now, you put the weight on the hip that is furthest away from the camera. So we're going to put your weight on your left hip, bring your right hip out. So you put your weight on the left hip, and then you bring your right foot out. That's it. Now, what we're going to do is just let her hand gently rest on the chair, not grabbing it, not real posy, but it's just resting there, okay? Beautiful. Now, we put your right hand on your hip, you turn your head to your right. There you go. A little bit more, look to the right. We're going for the 2/3 view. Eyes will come back to the camera. You're getting the hang of this. This is cool. Okay? Now let's bring it in to a 3/4 length, which will be below the hand, right about here. Her weight is on her left hip. Her right foot comes forward. We want both hands not cut off, though, so we got to back up a little bit. Yes, yes, yes. Now, if it's a bridal gown, obviously we can take her bouquet here. If we had a bouquet of some kind, you know, let's say that here's your bouquet right here. See, this is a beautiful, the new design of bouquets. These are the new black bouquets. Not to signify any problems in the marriage, but it's just basically a black bouquet. So she's got her bouquet right here, and it's held right there, so that we still have this line right here with a nice little bouquet right there. If she's not getting married in a wedding gown, then the hand can go on the hip, or maybe she has an outfit where her hand can go in her pocket. Let's try the pocket. See, like this. This is very, very classic. This is a painting that could have been done in the 1700s, 1600s, farther back than that. This is beautiful. So now we get the hair all perfect. Decide what we want to do with this side. Again, you got to turn your head to your right. Yes, chin down, eyes back to the camera. There's your photograph. Looks just beautiful. A little classic background back there. Very, very pretty. Let me show you an example of this pose right here. Like so. Okay, where her weight is on her hip that is farthest away from the camera. Then the hand comes down and rests on some kind of a chair or something. The other hand has a bouquet in it. Notice how we fluffed the bottom of the gown out here like so that you get some nice shape. But beautiful, beautiful light skimming across her gown, bringing out all the texture and the detail. 2/3 view of her face, chin down, eyes back to the camera. And there you have that. Okay, which brings us to number 18, which is our seated pose. Let me show you that here. This is a pose number 2, but it's seated, so it ends up being a 3/4 length. And what we're doing here, so I always try to show them what we're going to do here. We're going to sit you down like this and bring this leg up like this, so that you can bring your hand up to the side of your face like so, basically. Okay, so your right leg kind of comes up over the edge of the chair. A lot of times we'll use a director's chair for this. Looks really, really nice. Okay. Now you can see if she did this, right here, that's pose number 8. You will remember that now that you've watched this videotape for the last 25 times in a row. Repetition is the mother of skill. Watch it many, many times. This would be pose number 8. But what we're going to do is take, and pose number 18 is pose number 2, only 3/4 length. So we're going to take this and bring it up to the side of your face. Let your head tilt down towards you. Yes, this hand will come down here like so. We'll decide what to do with this in a minute. Let's zoom in a little teeny bit closer. Okay, there we go. Up a little bit. Yes, and over. Let me get out of the way here. Get her centered a little bit. And let's bring this now. We can use, sometimes we can bring this back and use this side of the chair. And just bring your hand up like this. She has real pretty hands. Get the rings perfect. Point her finger out slightly more than the others. Really, really pretty. There we go. We're getting there already. The hair looks really pretty. We can probably add a little more on the shoulders to soften it. But we're not going to take the time to really pick at the hair. But you get the idea. We want to soften this right in here. That's really, really pretty. Okay, we'd like to bring the hand up a little farther. So let your head tilt down just a little. Yep, so that we're right around the eye, temple, right in here, ear. That part of the face, we would like a little bit of the bend of the wrist, little wrist to the feminine, and photograph into the side of the face, or not side of the face, side of the hand, like that. So we have a little bend of the wrist right here. Okay? Again, picking at the hair, getting everything perfect. That's pose number 18. Looks really, really pretty. I'll give you an example of that. Pose number 18, hand comes up to the side of the face. The other hand comes out crossed here. Notice how the pointer finger is a little bit more than the other ones. Here's a more casual one than that even, where she's in a darker outfit, sweater, and just dark leggings or pants here. And then we put her name and neon lights behind her. Notice how the hand comes up, photographing into the side of the hand. Little bend of the wrist right here. This is really, really effective. Seniors love this, where we use our Adapt-A-Spot to put their name in neon lights. That's actually her signature in the background there. It's really cool. If you haven't heard about our Adapt-A-Spot, you can call us, and we'll be glad to tell you about it. It's very, very cool. But this is pose number 18. Looks really, really neat. Which brings us to 19. Let's let you hop up here. Now, pose number 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 are all on the ground. So we're going to work our way down to the ground. Now, when you're working on the ground, you have two choices. You can either use some kind of a seamless background like this and bring your camera angle way down, or you can make it a little more interesting and use a table and bring the floor up. So we're going to bring the floor up here and actually put her on a table with some plexiglass on it and do the rest of the poses that are to close this out, which are all done right down on the ground. You're really going to like them. So we're just going to break a second here while we set up our table, and then we'll be back to start with pose number 19. Okay, before we bring in the plexiglass and the table, I want to show you pose number 19, which is what I call a classic Roman pose. And we could have done it on the table in the plexiglass, but if you're lucky enough to have a love seat such as this, or a bridal posing bench or something like that, these are really made for the classic Roman pose. So let's bring Jill in here a minute and do this, and then we'll bring in our table here. So we'll sit you right down here, up on your right hip, bring your feet up here, bring your hand right up here. You can see how this is such a natural. She almost did it naturally without even me asking her to do it. And then the key here is we don't want to foreshorten this hand right in here, and this arm. So we're going to bring it out and bring it back towards the body so that we can see that we have a full arm in here. Now the hand can be put anywhere along in here that we want, but we would like to be able to see that the elbow is bent a little bit, and we don't want too much foreshortening, where if she came up like this, we wouldn't see any hand or any arm. So we want a little flow here. Okay, and then we'll play with your hair. And of course, we're going to go for our favorite view of her face, which is a 2/3 view towards the main light, eyes back to the camera. So that's what we're going to set up for right now. We put this like this. We're going to bring the hair over on this side, like so, to get this beautiful hair. And notice her hands, the wrist is up ever so slightly. Notice how the pointer finger is a little bit out more than the others. Over here, we're going to try and photograph into the side of the hand, showing the length of the fingers. Okay? So here we have basically pose number 19, classic Roman pose. We use this a lot for brides, either full length. Of course, full length, she would have her feet down for the bride, and the gown would come out all along here. Or you could do a really cute one like this of a graduating senior. You could go outside and have a little posing helper here, like a log, and she could put her elbow up on the log, and then there's weeds coming up in front of her and over here. This is a really beautiful pose. The key to remember is not to do that, okay, where you have no arm. You want to bring the arm back towards the body, then get that wrist just like she's got it right here with a slight bend. Point her finger out a little teeny bit more, but not out straight, okay, a little bit of a bend. And get all the clothes perfect. Your head turns out. Let's get this clean right here. In fact, this is just asking for it. Let's go ahead and go for one like this. Okay, there we go. We get our background light centered right here, so we've got a nice effect. I step out of the... See, that's just really beautiful. Very, very classic, really, really cute. That's pose number 19, classic Roman pose. This is a little girl, but this is a classic Roman pose where her one elbow comes up. You just can't see it because you've got the pillows here. The other hand could have come down just as easily right here like Jill's hand did, but in this case we had her little toy, so she brings her arm around the little stuffed animal. This is basically a very, very pleasing effect here compositionally. Very, very pretty. Head is slightly off center, giving a little more space and design to the photograph. That's pose number 19. Now, pose number 20 is the modified pose. To do that one, modified Roman, we're going to hop you right up here on our table. We've got some black plexiglass put down here so that we can get a little reflective material here. It's going to look really, really attractive. So we'll move you over just a little bit this way. We want to use her body to cover up our background light here. And all she's doing, the way she's sitting right now, is basically it. This is what I call the modified Roman pose, where her hand, instead of going on to some kind of a little device or log or something right here, is going right down to the ground. Then this hand can go up here like that. and you turn your head to your right. Okay, now bring your eyes back. Yes, okay, what we're trying to do is to get her head to turn slightly further to the right than her body is, but we still want the light coming from this side. We may turn her around here in a minute and do it the other direction. Well, let's get the basic lighting set up here first and decide how we like it. But this is a classic, what I call the modified Roman. Hand goes down. We have to be a little careful here. We don't want it to look too solid and straight, but basically it is holding her up. We want to be careful of the shoulder area here that it doesn't get real. Bring your shoulder way up high like you didn't know what you were doing. You know, it gets way up here, so you say, just let that shoulder relax a little. So you want to soften that area right there. Then you turn your head to your right just a tad, chin down, eyes back to the camera, 2/3 view, hair down here on both sides, as long as we see lots of hair, so it's not really competing with the side of her face. But personally, I still like it better this way, where she has that side clean, and this side has hair all through here. And of course, you fussed with the hair and everything, fussed with the outfit to make sure everything is perfect. But that's basically what I call a modified Roman. Use this all the time for family portraits, all the time, where she's one of the members of the family portrait. Especially now, in this case, the other members of the family would go over here. The composition would go this way, because she'd be on the end, because it comes down, a pyramid effect, and flows off the edge of the photograph. Okay, but this is also very effective for little girls, graduating seniors, whatever you want to do. Just nitpick a little bit here like so. Let me show you an example of that. If I can find it, here it is. This is one like we saw a little bit earlier when we were talking about a rear profile. And basically, this is when you do it full length. You can see where the arm comes down, this arm comes down. This is just done from the rear, photographed from the rear instead of from the front, and we've gone for a profile. But this is the same idea of what I call a modified Roman pose. If we turned her head to her left a little more here and put the camera over on the other side, that would be a frontal classic modified Roman pose right there. Which brings us to pose number 21. Now, starting with 21, we're going to go right down onto the ground. We're really going to get down low. This is one of our all-time favorites. We're going to swing you around this way so your feet are back on this side and your body's that way, and we're going to lay you down on your tummy. So you lay right down on your tummy, slide over this way further towards me. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. That's good. Now bring your feet over this way more, and you're right down flat. The key to this one is she's down on her tummy. So your feet are flat. Yeah, we'll bring your feet back this way on an angle. Now the key to this thing is the angle, because now we're going to bring your feet up, bending the knees, crossing the legs. Okay? Usually, because you see this right here. May I? Okay. Take the shoes off like this. And then we want to really accentuate this crossing if we can, so that we can really see it. And let's bring you a little more over this way towards the camera. Just rotate to your left. Bring this back a little more. You've got lots of room back here. Yep. But not so far to where her feet come over here and grow out of her you know, like this, out of her head. Okay? So we have the angle here. Now all we have to do is bring her, we need the pose, so we'll bring your right hand up to the side of your face. Okay, now we call this a TV pose, because you can just visualize her laying at home on the floor watching television, okay? So now, of course, we got to get the lighting right. Because she's down low, we're going to bring the level down, so that the height of the light down, so that it is low and into her eyes. We're going to nitpick at her hair. We want to watch this shoulder line right here to make sure that we're not getting too much shoulder. Fix the hair a little bit, fix the outfit. I kind of like this like this. Let's try this, see how it looks. This is cute. This is not bad. This has merit. This hand doesn't even look that bad right here. You can always put it back a little more and bring some hair in front of it if it really bothers you, like so. This is really, really cute pose. Looks great with graduating seniors outdoors, laying down in the grass, feet up, crossed, and you just say bend those, what are those called, knees, and bend it across like this. And it really is really cute. You can also do it inside like this on the plexiglass. Obviously, this is horizontal, like so. Then let's just turn your head a little to your right. Yes. And chin down a teeny bit. Yes. Tilt your head a little more to your right. So we'll bring this elbow out a little further. There we go. Now we'll just soften this palm area here by turning the hand towards the body a little more. Yes. And careful of this pointer finger not to make it too sharp. Maybe we can break that line with a little bit of hair. Oh man, this is darling. That's pose number 21, the TV pose. Let me show you an example. Hold on there a minute. Show you an example of that. Right here. Classic, what we call the TV pose with the feet coming up. Now, the differentiation between number 21 and number 22 is that she is on her tummy. Her tummy is flat down on the ground, and her hips are flat down on the ground so that her knees can bend, and then you cross the legs. Again, you can either do it with the shoes. This, you couldn't take the shoes off. This was so cute with the cheerleading outfit and the red and white shoes. Another example is this one here. You can see how it's just absolutely almost identically the same thing here. We're using our translucent accordion blind with some red gel with our mylar on the floor, but it's still the same idea. Knees bent, legs crossed, bare feet. Whole idea is exactly the same. Bringing this hand behind the elbow if necessary. In Jill's case, we put it behind the hair a little bit. If you go back live to Jill, you can see you're going to just perk yourself up a little. There we go. See, she was kind of getting a little too comfortable here. And we got this is beautiful. And people really like this. It's really cute because it's so different. The key is to keep these bent. When you start doing the photographs, they tend to start coming back as they're thinking about their smile. And so you got to keep watching that to keep it bent so it's right in the composition here like this. It's really cute. All right, now brings us to pose number 22, which is the same thing on the floor, but she's on her side. So now we're going to rotate you on your right side so you're facing the camera. Just like that, yep. And then you go right down, bring your elbow out here, bring your hand to the side of the face. Yep, yep. And let's see, I think our background's pretty clear right there. Like that. Okay, now notice the difference. Now she's on her side rather than on her tummy. This is number 22. We can either have the hair come down like this, or we can bring the hair up to show more of the outfit. Her hand can come in here like this. If maybe she has a little kitty. Okay, she has a little white kitty. So you put the little kitty right here, you know, and she's touching the kitty, holding on to the kitty. But you get the idea. This is really, really cute. Very similar to the other one, except that she's on her side now. Usually we'll come in 3/4 length. So let's zoom in a little closer, Ed, and let's soften this hand a little bit. Right there. Yep, there we go. So as we start to... One of the keys to making this pose look really pretty, if you can zoom back for just a second, we'll just cover this real quickly here because this is really important. One of the keys to making this really pretty, this line right in here, is you take the top leg and you bring it forward until it touches the ground. There you go. It gives a beautiful flow here. If she has an all-white outfit on and you're going to do this full length all the way to the tip of her toes, and you could even throw the shoes in here, see, like this, to kind of as a prop. Okay, and you want to show this line right here, and it was white, so it really was accentuated. Look how this gives this beautiful hip and then down, very, very pretty round flowing lines here. But in this case, we don't do that. We come in more close up. So let's go back in close up, leaving her just like she is. There it is. Come down a little bit. Yep, come in a little even closer. Okay, yeah, there it is. And then we have the option with the hair to either leave it like this or to bring it down like this. Let's get over here where I can see it. You can see where a table with a little bit of plexiglass on it really makes your life a lot easier than having to crawl around on the floor trying to do this. But this is not bad like that. Covers up the straight angles in the hand here if you want to do that. Pick a little bit at the blouse to make it really perfect. Chin down a teeny, teeny bit. Being careful not to change the shape of your head here. Don't lean too much. Yep. Don't want to change the shape of her face or tilt her eyes up at all. Looking right into the camera. Beautiful, beautiful. That's pose number 22. You can rest. Let me show you an example of pose number 22. Notice the difference here between 21 and 22 is that 22, she's on her side, okay, with the top leg coming over, even though we don't see it here. Hand comes down like this. Other hand comes up. We use the pom-poms here to soften this line right there. That's pose number 22. Which brings us to pose number 23. Pose number 23 is a really different type of a pose, really cute. And what we're going to do is just rotate you all the way around now. Put your feet heading that way. You're doing great. And you lay down flat on your back. Actually, you have your elbows go down. So you're on your back, you go down to your elbows, yes. Then you cross your knees, cross your legs. Okay, and then you bring this up. Part of the cool part about this is we can use this leg as a real cool effect here. We're going to zoom back a little bit further, and you turn your head a little towards the camera, still going for the 2/3 view. There it is. You can play with the hair to get the effect that you want. Really, really cute. If you, this is darling if done properly, in a skirt, because I mean it isn't revealing at all, but these then are skin tones, and it shows the design here, and she can point that toe and she can bring it up a little higher like this. It's a very playful type of a photograph. Mom and Dad probably won't buy this one for their wall, but she may get this in her wallets or something to give to her friends or give to her boyfriend. It's really, really cute and playful type of a photograph. So you can rest a minute. Let me show you an example of that. Pose number 23, right here, like so. Really, really cute. Here's another one where we used our adaptive spot to take this area right here and put her signature in like it's in neon lights. Really neat effect. See how this flows in a short skirt, but it's perfectly fine. It's not revealing or anything. And that way we get skin tones over here to really carry off the lines right here. Really, really cute. 2/3 view, narrow light. The main light is coming from over here. The shadow side of the face is towards the camera. Nice separation light on her hair. On the plexiglass to give us a little reflection down here. Look, you can even see the little reflection of her signature down here. Really, really cute. Which then brings us to pose number 24, which is going to be a little bit harder for us to demonstrate for you, so we're going to let you hop up a second. This is a really cool one, and we'll hop down. Now, if you have a large, high ceiling, you can do this on the table like this with the plexiglass. What we're going to do is just take the table out, put this on the floor, so that we can take advantage of our camera angle here and go down, because this one goes down right on the subject. All right, so now what we've done here now is we've taken the plexiglass, we've put it on the floor just to make it easier with our tripod and our camera here. Now we've laid Jill down on her back with her hands behind her back, okay? Very cool, comfortable, relaxing, very, very confident type of a pose. Then we're using our camera coming right down on her like this to give a really down effect. Plexiglass goes totally black. You turn your head a little more to your right towards the main light, a little bit more. A little bit more. We're going for the same view. There we go. Now chin comes down a little bit. Eyes go to the camera. Now we can play with the hair. We can take all this hair and we can really, really play with it and mess it all up and everything. This is why this particular pose is pose number 24. The last pose, you see? Because this could destroy your hair. We're really going to mess with it and play it around. You can bring it up here like this and make it part of the background. So you can play with it up here and play. She got all kinds of beautiful hair, and she'd say, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing? What are we doing? We're not done yet. We've got more photographs to do." And so you do this one last, okay? But look at this. This is so cute. Really, really darling. The key to this is the diagonal angle. Notice how her head is up here, then her body flows this way. We're composing so that we just go into the dark area of her outfit, and then we stop right there. Her eyes are right into the camera, excited and happy. That is a beautiful, beautiful pose. It's one of my favorites to do. People really like it. Let me show you an example. What we're using for our main light here is the adaptive spot. The adaptive spot is coming in from over here, giving very strong transition zone there, strong shadows. We've got our layering right on the ground. We've got a red silk sheet underneath her, or satin sheet underneath her, and then we put a black grid made out of wood. Then she's laying on that, and that's the effect. Really, really, really cool. So there you have the 25 most effective poses for posing women, whatever age there may be. You're going to just love this. Try this on your clients. Memorize these poses. Watch this tape over and over and over again until you can do these poses, rote memory, running all the way through all 25 of them, starting from 0 and working your way up to number 24. Learn these, internalize them, learn the rules, learn the little guidelines that we put into this tape so that you can watch it over and over again. Then once you've got that, you can internalize it, and then while you're working with your clients, everything seems real smooth and real flowing. Learn these poses because they are absolutely proven. The wheel has already been invented. These are the 25 most effective poses that there are for females, in my opinion. Only in my opinion. There's lots of other ideas out there from other photographers. But I think if you will start learning these things, you'll really see your photography improve. And you'll be able to do more photographs in less time. You'll be able to be more efficient because you don't have to stumble around as much and think about every one of the poses. So go home, start doing these things, and you will really, really be excited with the results. I hope you have enjoyed this tape, and it's been great to be with you. Thanks. If you have any questions about any of the information that we've covered on this tape, or would like to contact us for any other reason, here's our address and our phone number so you can give us a call at any time. We're really dedicated to helping you learn and go and grow wherever it is you'd like to end up being. So if you need any help or have any questions, please feel free to call us. We're here to help you in any way that we can.